we find Peter talking to the disciples, saying to them, hey, I'm going back fishing. And the rest of the disciples say, hey, we are going with you. And for them in these times, it would have been looked at as a shameful thing to stop living the life of a disciple and then becoming a fisherman. Peter would have felt shame because he had denied Jesus 3 times before this chapter. And what we see is that they work all night, but they don't catch anything. And then the Bible says Jesus appears on shore and says to them, hey, have you guys caught anything? And they replied, they said, no, we've caught nothing. And Jesus says to them, take your net and drop them on the other side of the boat. And they did. And the Bible says that they caught so many fish. And one of the disciples realized that the person who was speaking to them was Jesus. And he says to Peter, Peter, this is the Lord. And the Bible tells us that Peter, as he realized it was the Lord, he jumped out of the boat and he swam towards Jesus, while the other disciples were trying to come back to shore with the boat. But Peter swam and he gets to Jesus and he's happy to see Jesus. He kneels at his feet, and Jesus says to them, come with the fish. And Jesus had prepared some coal for them, and there was fish over the coal. And this was the Lord doing a barbecue for his disciples. If you're South African, it would have been a braai, but he's preparing a meal for them. And this is also a thing that David mentions in Psalm 23, that he prepares a table for me. And Jesus is preparing a meal for his disciples, and the Bible tells us that then he began to eat with them. He ate with them, and then he turns to Peter. He says to Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me? And Peter looks at Jesus. He says, I love you. And Jesus says, then feed my lambs. Then he asks him again, do you love me? And Peter replies, I love you, Lord. And then he says, take care of my sheep. And then he asks a third time, and the Bible says Peter was hurt by this time. He says, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. And Jesus says, feed my sheep. And then he carries on to say, follow me. When you think about that part, that Jesus saying to Peter, follow him, Peter, who has been following him, but had then turned to fishing again, he says to him, he reinstates him, he calls him back, he says, follow me. Because even in our lives, sometimes we can go away from the way of the Lord, but Jesus is calling us back, saying, hey, follow me. And he will make them fishers of men, as he says in Luke chapter 5 verses 10. He says, from now on you will be fishers of men. And Peter that day was reinstated as a disciple of Jesus. Be blessed.